Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're now with me, Muhammad Yusuf, for TVS News at 5. Let us begin with our top story. The Sarawak government, through its Sarawak Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, has been commended for its superb management of the COVID-19 pandemic in the state. The National Security Council NSC Director General, Datuk Rosie Muhammad Saad, said Sarawak had done exemplary in rolling out its vaccination program, setting standards for other states in Malaysia.
He said this during a courtesy call on Deputy Premier Datuk Amar Douglas Uga Ambas, who is also the chairman of SDMC, at his office at the new Dun complex today. He added that the NSC is very thankful of the full support and cooperation given by the state government and are certainly looking forward to bring the support and cooperation to an even greater height for the future. Rosie urged that the continuous strong ties and cooperation between the federal and state governments will augur very well for the safety of the people, economy, and the nation's security. These cooperation must complement each other in the greater good of our national interests.
Sarawak is ever ready in hosting world-class sporting events. Deputy Minister of Youth, Sports and Entrepreneur Development, Datuk Gerald Rentap Jabu, said with the tournaments in place, they have the potential to attract athletes, sponsors and even tourists, both domestic and internationally.
Gerald, whose text speech was read by the Chief Executive Officer of Sarawak Sports Corporation, SSC, Morshidi Frederick, the closing ceremony of the second Sarawak Short Course Sprint at Pandalela Rinong Aquatic Centre on Sunday.
Over the last 2 years, sporting events around the world have been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. But as tournaments slowly start to return, we are just excited to open our doors for global sporting events. Sarawak has world-standard sporting venues and facilities, especially here in Kuching.
He added that Sarawak had previously hosted several international sports events, such as Spartan Race and Borneo Trail Classic.
Sarawak has seen the returning of some international sporting events, such as the Spartan Race Sarawak and the Borneo Trail Classic. Besides this, Sarawak will host the first ever Decafit event in Southeast Asia in November this year.
Approximately 20 teams participated in the second Sarawak Short Course Sprint event, including swimmers from Indonesia, Brunei, Sabah, and Peninsular Malaysia.
Now, at least 1,500 individuals were evacuated as strong winds continue to fan wildfire that struck Anon de Moncayo, a town located in northeastern of Spain. The fire, which started on Saturday, August 13th, has burned about 19,800 acres of forest. Authorities fear that the wildfire will spread towards the Moncayo Natural Park, which at present time has not been affected yet. 300 firefighters, including 187 military reinforcements, were dispatched to control the fire from spreading any further.
Pues la noche ha sido intensa. En estas circunstancias las noches suelen ser movidas porque es una emergencia que nosotros decimos que está viva porque no sabemos cómo va a evolucionar y entonces se trata de valorar las necesidades que hay, las personas que hay desplazadas para que sean atendidas a nivel psicosocial y a nivel de capacidad de poder estar alojadas, durmiendo, seguras y alimentadas.
Sí, tiene una casa mi hijo ahí en el santuario. Y estamos viendo como que parece que no lo hubiera tocado, pero no nos deja ver ahora por el humo este que está aquí, ahí abajo.
Así que preocupados, imagino.
Y, ¿qué te parece? Sí, toda su vida está ahí adentro, todo, los recuerdos, dinero.
This is TVS News at 5. Now on to our this week's topic of discussion on inflation. Malaysia's economy grew at the fastest clip in a year, fueled by a surge in consumption, underpinning the recovery of services and manufacturing, boosting the central bank's scope to focus on fighting inflation. According to Bank Negara Malaysia, gross domestic product GDP expanded 8.9% in the April-June period from a year ago, beating the 7% median estimate in a Bloomberg survey. Meanwhile, output rose 3.5% from the first quarter against a median estimate of a 1% growth. Now, to elaborate more on this matter, we'll be joined by Mr. Shan Said, a chief economist from Juwai IQI. Now, Mr. Shan, what are the effects of inflation on the country's GDP, and do you think that inflation can be controlled by BNM?
Yes, I think in my opinion, Bank Negara has got sufficient room. Already they have raised 50 basis point and still the economy is on the upsurge. Look at the trade numbers that have come out in June. So overall, I think Bank Negara has got sufficient room, but we don't expect at Juwai IQI that Bank Negara will go very aggressive in terms of rate hikes. They might increase by 25 basis point from here, where discount rate, the OPR rate is already at 2.25. But I don't see the discount rate touching 3% this year. The maximum they can go up to is 2.5. Even at 2.5, we expect that Bank Negara will be able to tame price inflation under 3%, which is a good number to start with. I think overall the inflation numbers will remain subdued. And I think Bank Negara has done a good job in the last 2-3 years, taking into account the economy has gone through COVID challenges, but Bank Negara has maintained structural stability in ringgit, and overall monetary policy has remained pretty stable.
Now, Bank Negara has repeatedly said that this year any OPR increases would be done in a measured and gradual manner, while ensuring that monetary policy remains accommodative to support sustainable economic growth in an environment of price stability. How has the economy absorbed the 50 basis points OPR hike so far? Will we see a faster pace of tightening if GDP growth strengthens, with few lawmakers dictates that the nation is headed for recession? Mr. Shan?
Recession, I don't know. The technical definition of recession is when your GDP goes down, is negative for 2 consecutive quarters. That is recession. So first quarter, the GDP was 5%. The second quarter, 8.9%. So where is recession? I don't know. But the pragmatic definition of recession is when consumers don't spend, the businesses don't invest, the economy actually shrinks. You go to any mall in KL right now, whether it's KLCC or Pavilion or BSC, Vanutama, I think you can see the restaurant business, 80% are full. Restaurant business is like the pulse of the economy. As I've shared with you, my friend circles, 90% have traveled once in the last 3 months, 40% have traveled twice, and 10% have traveled 3 times in the last 3-4 months or so. People in my networking, 2% have bought new cars. So restaurant business, car business, and energy consumption. Malaysia, as you know, ranked 27, 28 in the world in terms of energy consumption. So when you talk about recession at Juwai IQI, I can say in categorical terms that there won't be any recession in Malaysia. Premature to say what will happen in 2023, but obviously 2023 globally will be much tougher than 2022 due to geopolitical risk.
Understood. Now, since the beginning of the year until August 11th, the Malaysian ringgit has depreciated almost 7% against the US dollar. The last time it dropped by more than this quantum over a similar 8-month period was in 2015, when crude oil prices crashed. Hence, with the ringgit weakened significantly against the greenback, should this be a concern, and should the Bank Negara be more aggressive in defending the ringgit?
I think it shouldn't be a concern. If you look at all the currency, they have gone down. It is not just Malaysia. Year to date, depreciation Malaysia is 6.9. Look at Thai baht, 7.9%. Indonesian rupiah is 6.4%. 8.42%, Philippine peso is 8.41%, Japanese yen is 18.75%, Chinese yuan is down 6.29%, South African rand is down by 4.2%, and Vietnamese dong is down by 3.53%. So overall, all the currencies have gone down, not just Malaysian ringgit. And I've shared in my interview on 9th August with Bhartia Harian that stronger dollar has pushed all the emerging market currencies to go down. But this trend is going to change because US dollar, after touching all-time high of 108, now dollar index is down at 105, and we expect this dollar index to go down by 100, around 100 in the next 2 months or so, and that will really give a boost to all the currencies that took beating in this year. So we expect ringgit to be meandering around 4.05 to 4.35 by 31st December 2022. And we think Bank Negara has done a pretty good job in maintaining structural stability in ringgit. And overall, they have met the mandate of price stability and growth stability in the country. That has given a real boost to the overall economic situation in the country. And Malaysia continues to be on the global investor radar due to its economic confidence and macroeconomic stability.
Thank you, Mr. Shan, for joining us today. Now, if you want to see the world closer with TVS, come as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading onto our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Mohammed Yusuf. Thank you for watching and have a good day.